In this video, we're going to take a look at several definitions that are related to a concept or an area of study in algebra called polynomials. The first word that we want to talk about is a term. Now, you've actually used this word. We have talked about combining like terms in previous classes, perhaps, but a term is a number or a product of numbers and variables which might possibly be raised to powers. And an example, the number 7 is a term. 8x is a term. It's a product of 8 and x. Negative 3xy squared is a term. It's a product of a number, some variables, and those variables can be raised to powers. This is called a constant term, and these are both called variable terms. Okay? The numerical coefficient, did it again, or just coefficient of a term is the number factor in a term. I apologize for that hopping up. So let's take a look at some terms, and I want to identify the numerical coefficient. If I have 2x, the numerical coefficient is just the 2. If I have 5xy squared, the numerical coefficient is 5. If I have just x, the numerical coefficient is the implied 1 that is sitting in front. If I have negative y, the numerical coefficient is the implied negative 1. And finally, if I have a constant, say I have the constant 7, the numerical coefficient is the 7 itself because it's the number factor in a term, and that's the only factor in that term. So the numerical coefficient of a term is the number factor. Now, the definition of the word polynomial is, it's math language. It says a polynomial is a finite sum of terms in which all variables have exponents raised to non-negative integer powers, and no variable appears in the denominator. Okay, let me see if I can translate that. An example of a polynomial would be like 5x squared plus 3x minus 4. This is a finite, which means it does stop. It doesn't go on forever. Sum, now that encompasses both sum and difference, because this could be adding negative 4. So it is pluses and minuses of terms, and the terms, if they have exponents, they cannot be negative integers. They can be positive integers, or they could be a 0, because this would be like 4x to the 0. And there cannot be a variable in the denominator. So a polynomial is going to really be the sum or difference of terms. Exponents on the variables cannot be negative. All right, next. Well, my goodness. The degree of a term is the sum of the exponents on the variables in the term. So I'd like to look at a term, and then I want to look at a term, and then I want to talk about what is its degree. All right, if I have 5x, the exponent on that is a 0. So the exponent is an implied 1. That was a bad mistake. So the degree is 1. If I have 3x to the third, the degree is 3. It's totally based on the exponent. If I have a variable term like negative 2x squared y to the fourth, the degree is, in this case, the sum of the degrees. So this is degree 6. So I will add those two. If you happen to have a constant, like 4, the degree of a constant is 0. Okay, so it is the exponent. If there's a single variable, it is the sum of exponents if there's more than one variable, and if it's a constant, the degree is 0. Now, that was degree of a term. Now, a term is just a building block of a polynomial. So if a polynomial has lots of different terms, suppose we have 3x squared plus 4x minus 8, if this term is degree 2, and this term is degree 1, and this term is degree 0, what's the degree of the polynomial? Degree of, and I'm going to abbreviate it, poly. It is not the sum of these. It is the greatest degree of all the terms. Well, the greatest degree is 2. So the degree of that polynomial would be 2. So if you're trying to find the degree of a polynomial, you stop and find the degree of each term, and then you simply choose the biggest. All right, one last thing to say about polynomials is classifying a polynomial by the number of terms. A monomial has one term. Example, 5x or 2. Those are monomials. Next, let's look at a binomial. A binomial has 2 terms. Example, 3x plus 7 or 6x squared y to the 5th minus 8z. This is a binomial, 1 term, 2 terms. This is a binomial, 1 term, 2 terms. And then finally, I think it's pretty obvious what, whoops, that didn't work out so well, what a trinomial would be. It's going to have 3 terms. And we typically see these written from highest power down to lowest, like 2x squared plus 5x minus 6. Degree 2, degree 1, degree 0, descending order. All right, let's use that language to answer some questions. The first one, find the degree of the following polynomial. Determine whether it is a monomial, a binomial, a trinomial, or none of these. All right, let's look at 4x plus 9. To determine the degree of the polynomial, we look at the degree of the first term. Well, it is degree 1. We look at the degree of the second term, and the degree of a constant, it is always 0. The degree of the polynomial is the greatest of the degrees of the terms. So it is degree 1. Now, which is this? Well, there's 1, 2 terms, so it's a binomial. Let's look at another case, another question like that. The polynomial is 7x to the 3rd. Well, it is a single term. Its degree is 3, so the degree of it as a polynomial is still 3. Is it a binomial? No. Is it a monomial? Yes. I would have gone back to none of these if I had said no to all of them. This is 1 term. It's a product of things, but it is only 1 term. The terms are separated by pluses and minuses. This next one is negative 7z squared x squared plus 7z squared x plus 2z to the 3rd x to the 3rd. To figure out the degree of the polynomial, I look at the degree of this term. It is 2 plus 2 or 4. The degree of this term is 2 plus 1 or 3. And the degree of the last term, 3 plus 3 or 6. Now remember, the degree of a term, you do add exponents if there's more than one variable. But the degree of the polynomial is the highest. So this is degree 6. How many terms do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. That makes this polynomial a trinomial. One more. I have negative 6zx plus 3x to the 5th. The degree of the polynomial, well, that's a 1 and that's a 1, so the degree of that term is 2. The degree of this term is 5. The degree of the polynomial is the greatest, so it is degree 5. There's one term, two terms, that makes this a binomial. So I hope you feel a little bit more comfortable with degrees of terms, degrees of polynomials, and classifying as a monomial, binomial, or trinomial.